The Ashley Forest Rallysprint is brought to you by Pace Project Management. The Ashley Forest Rallysprint has been here just out of Rangiora on this iconic piece of road since 1979.
That's Harfield blasts off the line to signify the last car to go in the qualifying round, the final qualifying round here at the Ashley Forest Rallysprint. Love to tell you it was sunny and warm conditions. It's absolutely the opposite. It is cold, it is raining, it is freezing here in mid-Canterbury. But we've got a fantastic field, we've got a fantastic event for you. Stick around, you'll see some of the best gravel bashers in New Zealand competing on the iconic Mount Grey Road.
Last year was the turn of Matt Summerfield driving Steve Murphy's Chev V8-powered Mitsubishi Cordia to put his name on the trophy along with the greats of New Zealand hill climbing.
Former New Zealand junior rally champion.
Matt, defending champion here at Ashley Forest. Yesterday went well, but totally different ball game today.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame that the rain's come in, but I think if anything it might help us out. We still got the restrictor in the car. Couldn't get a tune through last night for it to go unrestricted, so we're a wee bit down on power, which the rain will probably help us.
Also looking for the top step on the podium, husband and wife pairing of Lorna and Michael Tall. What might be getting in both of their ways was the state of the road.
Uphill is reasonable, but still a bit slippery on the inside of the corners. Downhill's looking quite dangerous, really. The last 2 or 3 corners are just clay, very slippery. Could easily have a big moment there, so we'll tiptoe through those last couple of corners.
Perennial frontrunner Richard Baddock was back in his mean black Subaru Impreza, maybe making its last ever competitive outing.
Richard here at Ashley Forest, and I guess you'll resume your battle with Matt for overall honours again.
Yeah, that's right. He's certainly putting up a fight, but there's early days yet, and to be fair, he's good in the wet, so I can't imagine he's going to make it too easy for me.
Making his first appearance at Ashley Forest in the ex-Andrew Hawkswood Pikes Peak Special was Sloane Cox.
Well, a bit of a baptism of fire for you. First time at Ashley Forest in this car, and it's pouring down with rain.
Yeah, yesterday I got a bit of practice in the dry, but today, yeah, it's been a bit of a battle down here, but I can't wait to get started.
What's it like to drive? I know when Andrew had it, it was a weapon.
Yeah, it still is a weapon. It is a handful. Compared to our Evo 10 rally car, this thing's totally different. More revs, more power. A lot of wheel spin, but it's the more fun car to drive.
A lot of wheel spin was an understatement with 800 horsepower under his right foot. So this is the top 16, and this is Trevor Crowe. Clever Trevor, they call him. He is the master of the hybrid. At one stage, he was the only South Islander ever to win the Ashley Forest Rallysprint. That was back in 1985 in his Toyota Starlet V8. Here we are, though, now in his latest creation, and this is a Subaru Justy with an Impreza engine in it. So we'll have a look as he works his way up the top. It's a full throttle blast right off the start line until you get to this corner, the kink, and this has caught plenty out in the past as he works his way up now. The next notable landmark, if you like, is Nota's Corner. He just comes into there now. You can see big, thick tracks of mud all over this infamous road, Mount Grey Road, up into the hairpin he comes down. What's the split going to be? Needs to be in the low 40s, I would think, if he wants to go any further. 43 and change for Clever Trevor, 43.10. So he's really going to have to haul it down the hill now. Well, he is no stranger to this. I think he's competed in just about every Ashley Forest Rallysprint there's been, and he's been there and done it. He's done it all. Australian touring cars, the Wellington Street Race, marathon running, the Spates Coast to Coast, you name it. Trevor Crowe has ticked it off his bucket list, and this is a pretty good time for the Subaru. Trevor Crowe stops the clocks with a 109.91. Will that be good enough to make the 8? This is Don McLean from Danneberg. Now, this is an interesting story. This is a double entry, double driven car, although Don will be driving it both times because his son Michael was meant to drive the car, but unfortunately he couldn't get a clearance after some late surgery for an appendix problem. He couldn't get a clearance from Motorsport New Zealand with Ashley Forest just happening around the corner. So Don said, I'll drive it both times. I can tell you that the boys from the Hawke's Bay have got quite a good track record here at Ashley Forest. Don McLean working his way out of Notice, heading now towards the hairpin. 43.10 was Trevor Crowe's split. This one's a little bit quicker. It is 42.52 for Don McLean, the rally driver, not the singer, and now he flings it down the hill. Pace Project Management brings it to you. It is the 2015 Ashley Forest Rallysprint. It's been going since 1979. Steve Millen was the first winner in a Vauxhall Chevette. This is a Subaru Impreza. You're riding with Don McLean as he works his way down to the Kumo Tyres finish line, looking for a 109 or better. Gets it 108.72. So for the moment, Don McLean is the fastest man on the hill in the top 16. Sam Hurley from Rangiora, just down the road, is on the journey now in his Mitsubishi Evo 3. You're riding with the camera on the roof. Listening to the engine note, it hardly ever changes. It is full throttle, the gas pedal mashed to the floor as he works his way up this notorious hill, this Mount Grey Road. Iconic piece of gravel in New Zealand rallying and sprinting history. Oh, he just got a little bit untidy coming out of the kink, maybe running it a little bit wide, so maybe that's going to cost him just a little bit. He competed in this event last year, came 29th overall, so already he's gone better than that. He's into the top 16. Heading up for the hairpin, the Repco hairpin. What's the split going to be? 41.88 for Sam Hurley, so he's gone quicker than the 42.52 of Don McLean, and also the split, the 43.10 of Clever Trevor Crowe. Down the other side he comes now. He's more familiar with working. Oh, and he gets way sideways just coming out of the dipper. That was nearly a huge moment there for Sam Hurley. I was just going to say he's more used to working on them than driving them, because he's part of the crew that travels round with Matt Summerfield and works on the Subaru, but he's driven the Mitsubishi well there and finished with a 108.66. Matthew McGlinchey next to go, 19th overall last year. So he would be looking to go one better or more. Once again, you ride with him. You can see the sheen on the road. The rain still pitter-pattering down here. It is bitterly cold at Ashley Forest. We certainly haven't got the mud and the torrential rain of a few years ago. Oh, McGlinchey, all sorts of sideways as he comes into the dipper. That's going to cost him maybe a tenth, maybe a little bit more. Time to beat at the top is a 41.88. That was Sam Hurley. He's been the quickest so far, just a little bit wide coming out of noters. Now gathers it back up again. Watch you pull up the handbrake here for the hairpin. Locks the back wheels. Oh, and he's slipped out into the soft stuff on the wide part of the circuit. 44.33, and that is going to be costly. If you can get up in the 41s or 42s, you're going to fly down the hill. But now McGlinchey's got it all to do. He's got to beat the 108.66 of Sam Hurley, or the 108.72. That seems to be the benchmark that Don McLean said. We ride with him here as he works his way down to the Kumo Tyres finish. Matt McGlinchey, 19th last year, crosses the line with a 113.00. So he lost a bit of time on the way up, but he lost a whole chunk on the way down. So maybe we won't see McGlinchey again. This is Jason McConnell. This is the ex-Matt Summerfield car of a couple of seasons ago. Jason comes from a speedway background, stock cars, but has taken to rallying and rally sprinting like a duck to water, although he has had some misfortune in, most of the rallies he's done. He's no stranger to crashing. He's an excitement machine, is Jason McConnell, the man from Christchurch. You ride with him here, just gets a little bit wide coming through the dipper, or should I say the kink. You can see the front suspension bottoming out as he works his way to the top. Noters is the next obstacle for him. Oh, and he's a little bit wide out on the soft stuff. That's going to cost him a little bit as well. Best split so far, the 41.88 is Sam Hurley. What's Jason going to do? 43 and change. 43.17 officially for Jason McConnell. Now, well, he's no stranger to bravery. He'll really give it everything coming down the hill. The ex-Matt Summerfield Castrol Edge Subaru just gets a little bit taily from the corner from the dipper. And now he's got it completely wrong down by the finish line. And over we go. And Jason McConnell has come to a grinding halt. The Subaru's on its side.
Mate, I guess there's only one question. What happened?
Brain failure, mate. Brain failure. Probably a bit eager, mate. A bit keen, but doesn't matter. No one's hurt, had a bit of fun, so it's been a good weekend.
And without putting too fine a point on it, it's not as if you're new to it.
No, I crashed quite a lot, honestly. So it's just another crash.
Is that the stock car background?
I think it is, mate.
Commiserations. What do you think? They've had a quick look at it. Do you think you can get it back?
No, we're out. We'll go and have a light refreshment now, I feel.
Good on you, Jason.
Well, Jason McConnell might be out, but there's plenty more to come after the break here at the Pace Project Management Ashley Forest Rally Sprint for 2015. We're deep into the top 16 here at Ashley Forest. This is Richard Bateman in the Mitsubishi Evo 8. Richard's another one that should be around the about the 109s, high 108s. It's what he's been doing in the previous runs. Remember, the eliminations go from 16 to 8 to 4, and then there'll just be 2. Who will it be? Can Matt Summerfield go back-to-back here? You're on board with Bateman as he works his way up the hill. This full throttle blast around this 1.8 kilometre notorious road. Just a little bit wide coming out of the dipper, and that's thrown the car out into the soft stuff just a little wee bit. Heading up towards the hairpin now. Bateman, oh, and he's got it wrong. He's locked up the handbrake. He's locked up the rears a little bit too soon, and he's spun it round. Well, now he's going to have to do a U-turn. About an 18-point turn by the look of it to get the Bateman Motors Mitsubishi turned round. This is going to cost him a huge chunk of time. The split isn't going to be one to ride home about, 52.20. You get the feeling that this will be the last time we see Richard Bateman, because he's never going to come down the hill in under the 40-second mark to make a respectable time. It's not going to be. It's going to blow way out here. Bateman, another one, no stranger to Ashley Forest and all the local rallies. You're riding with him heading down towards the Kumo Tyres finish. And I think he's backed out of it. I think he knows there's no possible hope. And it's going to be a 120 plus, 123.02 for Richard Bateman. He won't be happy with that. He's gone way quicker in the previous runs. David Thexton in the ex-Richard Mason Possum-born Motorsport Subaru Impreza. Thexton Armstrong Business Success Programming sponsorship on the door. Well, I really don't think David would mind me saying that he's one of the golden oldies of the rallying scene in New Zealand. People that have been around the scene for a long time will remember the Rio Juices RX-7 that David used to pedal around the country. Of course, he owned Rio Juices. Now he's a very successful businessman in his own right, and he's just about tried everything. He's had a brief foray in the Australian V8 supercar ranks. He got very close to the water table there as they went through the dipper. That's going to cost him maybe a tenth and maybe a bit more. Also been a veteran of the New Zealand V8 Touring Car Championships. But this is an event he would love to win. He's told me that's on his bucket list. He's got to win it. 1 year, he says. 41.33, fastest so far in the 16, so he's heading in the right direction. Fastest previous split was Sam Hurley with a 41.88, so he's quicker than that. So we're looking at a 1.08, maybe a little bit quicker for Thex as he works his way down the hill now. Despite the weather conditions, still a big crowd watching the Pace Project Management's Ashley Forest Rally Sprint as David Thexton brings it home through the Kumo Tyres finish line with a 107.60, and that is the fastest we have seen so far. So this is Don McLean once again. Remember, he's double driving this car. His best effort so far in the 16 was a 108.72. He's come all the way from Danny Verk, I should say, in the Hawke's Bay to compete here at Ashley Forest. Was to be with his son Michael. Unfortunately, Michael couldn't get a medical clearance after late surgery. So Don said, you know what, I think I'll come and drive it twice. And that's exactly what he's doing. Now, you would think with doing double duty here, yes, it's hard on the car, but it's probably pretty good for the driver. He gets to know the intricacies, the way the road changes. Certainly with the conditions we've got here today, it changes a lot. Let's see what the split time will be. His first split was a 42.52. This one's a little bit better, 42.39 at the top. Now he's competing in four-wheel drive rally and unlimited four-wheel drive, so I'm picking he'd be taking the restrictor out of the car for the unlimited runs. Back on board with him here as he works his way down through this little combination of small kinks that have caught a few out. Jason McConnell comes to mind. Doesn't catch Don McLean though. 108.48. Now, is that better than his last time? It is, but only fractionally. He did a 108.72 with his first run. That one a 108.48. Luke McLennan next to go. from Tinwall in mid-Canterbury, Mitsubishi Evo 3. Have a look at the road from the camera on the roof of the Mitsu. You can see still a lot of sheen on the road. I'd like to tell you that the sun was out and the temperatures come up about 10 degrees, but sadly it hasn't. It is still sprinkling down here with rain. The track is muddy. And slowly but surely the gravel's being torn away and we're getting down to the bedrock, which is clay here. And that's going to affect the times. I don't think you're going to see the magic minute today, but you never know. You never know. Heading towards the split now, Luke McLennan from Tinwald. What's he going to do it in? 44. It is 44.30, so he did lose a little bit of time on the way up. So that's going to transfer, if you have a look at his previous runs, to about a 1:10, 1:11 time, I would think. Nice and tidy through the dipper. Big crowd sheltering in the trees watching that. Very spectacular point. Oh, he's just got it a little bit sideways and he flirts with the edge of the racetrack just before the finish line. Then he drops it into the water table. That was a wild finish for Luke McClanahan. What's the time going to be? Will it be in the 10s? Will it be in the 11s? It's a 1:11.46. Matt Penrose is next to go in the Subaru. 7th overall last year and a bit of a sensation, having his initial runs on the gravel. He's got runs on the board, if you'll pardon the pun, on the tar seal. He's a past historic Formula Ford champion. His dad was a master in minis. Let's see what Matt Penrose can do this time around. Best time with the 7th overall last year was a 1:07.33. Oh, and he's got a problem coming out of Notas. Oh, he's got a box full of neutrals, I would suggest. Well, he's found one, and he's got going again, but that's going to cost him a huge amount of time. Oh, and he's just a bit slow getting to the hairpin as well. 48.49 at the top. Oh, and it's happened again. He's missed another couple of gears in there. So it's all gone wrong for Matt Penrose in the top 16. 7th overall in 2014. He isn't going to repeat those heroics. This time's going to be well out over the 1:13, maybe 1:14. You're riding with him here. And once again, I think like Richard Bateman, he's got out of it toward the end. And it's a 1:17.02. So unfortunately, that's as far as Matt Penrose will go. 7th overall last year, not coming out of the top 16 this time around for 2015. Mike Wellington next to go in the Mitsubishi Evo 6. Now Mike has been fast. Once again, you ride with him here. Maybe my eyes are deceiving me, but are we seeing a little bit of a drying line as they work their way up the hill, heading down into the kink now? Right down into the water table, then he crosses the road, gets the left front down right by the grass. That's the fast lane. You can hear the suspension bottoming out as he works his way through the kink. And very sideways coming out of Notas is Mike Wellington in the Mitsubishi. Last run up the split was about a 42. Needs to be a little bit quicker this time round, and he is 41.07. That's the fastest split we've seen. It's faster than David Theakston. Now can he throw it down the other side? The Sir Evo personalised plate on the front of the Mitsubishi Evo 6. Mike Wellington heading through the dipper now, and that is a fast, clean run by the look of it. What's the time going to be? You ride with him here as he works his way through these difficult little kinks just before the Kumho Tyres finish line. It's going to blow out a little bit. It's going to be in the 109s. 109.29 for Mike Wellington. Well, with that good split at the top, he's lost a little bit of time on the way down. Scott Jones next to go from Timaru in the Mitsubishi Evo 3. Scott was 5th last year. Scott is one of these guys a little bit like a couple of the others that you'll see, the likes of Michael Tall, that races just about everything and anywhere. And the Evo's been good to him. He's a regular at the Waimate 50 GT Series. He's a regular here at Ashley Forest. And I said he finished 5th last year in this car. He's just a little bit more sideways than he wants to be, I would think. Just coming out of the dipper and just nearly getting into the soft stuff there as he prepares now for the hairpin, the Repco hairpin. You got to get this one just absolutely dead right. And poor old Scotty hasn't, because he's gone right out into the soft stuff. It was a great split. 40.07, but then it went wrong as he came through the exit of the hairpin, and that is going to cost him a big chunk of time. 40.7 at the top. Should transfer to a 108, maybe a high 107, but it isn't going to be because he's just a little bit tardy coming out of the hairpin. So this is going to be another 109, I would think, for Scott Jones from Timaru. And that's exactly nearly 110, 109.58 for Scotty Jones. He won't be happy with that. He's a lot better than that. He was 5th last year. Maybe that doesn't get him through to the 8. This is Mike and Lorna Tall, 3-time Waimate 50 overall champions. Oh, and they've got problems, and it's a driveline problem by the look of it. Well, it's kind of haunted them a wee bit this season. Mike and Lorna in the 4-wheel drive upgrades Mitsubishi, they head straight back into the pits. Their day is done, and that is a sensation.
Mike, they say the Ashley Forest can be cruel. What happened?
Very cruel, yep. Just broke an excellent start line, and listening to the times, I'm sure we would have been quicker than anybody because we have been already all day, all weekend. So, yeah, very disappointing.
And it was kind of playing into your hands because it was starting to dry out a little bit?
Yep, I did think we could put down a bit of time. I was getting a little bit excited again about it, and I thought, yeah, this is going to be it. It's our year, but no, not again.
This frustration sort of followed you around a wee bit.
Yeah, I do tend to break the odd thing at critical moments, never when it doesn't matter. Yep.
Commiserations, mate.
Thank you.
Well, more than commiserations for Michael Tall. He had done a 1.00 in his 3rd run. That was in the dry. This is Sloane Cox out of Rotorua, the Taslow Engineering ex-Andrew Hawkswood car, and he's got a problem as well. Listen to the rattle coming from the driveline, the transmission. Cox is mystified. He doesn't know what's gone wrong, but his race comes to an end.
Sloane, not the way you wanted to go out. What happened?
Yeah, not exactly on the start line there. Got a few gears and then seems like plucked the gear, got loaded up too much and broke the front universal and drive shaft. Thought maybe an axle, something that would carry a spare, even though it's run-offs, we thought we'd get the car easy fixed, but nah, it's a bit more than that. Snapped the axle, and you see the drive shaft tail just broken there, hanging around.
It's a long way to come for nothing.
Yeah, that's right. We didn't expect too much this year. We'll come back another year of more anger and try and take out a win and maybe a dry weather. We'll look at record one day, hopefully.
Right, mate, commiserations.
Thank you.
Cheers.
So this is Richard Baddock out of Kaiapoi. Baddock finished 4th last year in the Pace Project Management's Ashley Forest Rallysprint in association with The Rock. You're riding with him as he works his way up the top of this 1.8 kilometre hill. Mount Grey Road, notorious in New Zealand rally sprinting history. They've been doing this sprint since 1979. Steve Millen was the first winner. The record holder is the amazing Kim Austin with a 56.57. Because of the conditions and the inclement weather, we're not going to see a time like that today. As we watch Richard in and out of the dipper with no problem at all, heading up into notice, gets it a little bit sideways, but he's got plenty of power on board. Haven't seen a sub 40-second split yet. Are we going to see it this time? Handbrake comes on, nice and tight, away from the soft outer area of the hairpin, and we do see a sub 40-second split for Richard Baddock, 39.22. That's the fastest of the day here at Ashley Forest. Rocketing through the dipper. The black Subaru may be the last time we see it in anger, because Richard tells me he's building a more modern Subaru for the upcoming New Zealand Rally Championships. Is going to come down here in a blaze of glory with a 1:03.25, and that is the fastest time so far, with a couple of quick boys still to go. Richard Baddock will be pretty happy with that. This is the defending champion, Matt Summerfield from Rangiora, just down the road. Won this event last year in the Steve Murphy Mitsubishi Cordia. You're riding on the roof here of the Castrol Edge Subaru Impreza. Wayne Bork is the navigator, hasn't got too much to do. He is just sitting there and watching the action, watching the trees flash by, because they're approaching 160 kilometres an hour as he heads down into the dipper. That's the only chance he gets to lift the throttle. Taps the brakes, sets the car up. Brilliant pictures here from the Pace Project Management Ashley Forest Rallysprint as we watch the defending champion, Matt Summerfield. The big crowd interested in this one. Are we going to see another sub 40-second split? Oh, and he's just a little bit wide, maybe a little bit hesitant into the hairpin, and it's cost him 40.33 at the top for Matt Summerfield. So fastest at the top so far, the 39.22 of Richard Baddock. These two are arch rivals on the rally scene and the sprint scene in New Zealand. Summerfield is the defending champion in the Steve Murphy Cordia. What's he going to do in his own car, in the New Zealand Rally Spec car, with the restrictor still in? looking for a finish time of around about the 104s. It's a 105.70 for Matt Summerfield. So Richard Baddock draws first blood in the 16. So if we have a look at his Richard Baddock topping the table in the top 16 from the defending champion Matt Summerfield. Third place goes to the veteran David Thexton, then it's Don McLean and Sam Hurley making up the top 5. Trevor Crowe just missing out on the 8 in the Subaru. As well as the overall honours for the fastest up Mount Grey Road, there were points and bragging rights for the class winners as well. Winning the 1301 to 1600cc class was Josh Mitchell in his Crow Sport sponsored Toyota Starlet with a 118.84. Another Starlet clinched the 0 to 1300cc class here at Ashley. Kane Adcock taking the win with an outstanding 115.66. Open two-wheel drive had been the domain of Chris Hay in his Nissan-powered MR2. Despite having only 2 working gears at times, he was still too good for Trevor Crowe and Don Hopper McLaren and took the title again in 2015. The scream of the Rotary and Bruce McMillan's pristine RX3 took the crowds back to the days of John Wolfe in a similar car, the winner of Classic Two-Wheel Drive with a 117.52. Richard Bateman in his Mitsubishi Lancer Evo with a 104.95 done on just his 3rd run was good enough to take the chocolates in Rally 4-wheel drive. And the undisputed king in unlimited 4-wheel drive was left ruining what might have been fastest time of the weekend with a 1:00.44, but knocked out in the top 16. That was the Michael Tall story. So here are your class winners in the Ashley Forest Rally Sprint, brought to you by Pace Project Management in association with The Rock. Welcome back to Ashley Forest for the Pace Project Management Ashley Forest Rally Sprint for 2015. Well, the brollies have gone away, so that means the rain has stopped for a little while as we get into the top 8 now. This is Don McLean from Dannevirke. Remember, he's double driving this car. Best time in the 16 for Don was a 108.72. You're riding with him here as he heads up the top of the hill now, looking for 42 seconds or better at the top of the Repco hairpin. So you just hear him get off the throttle there as he prepares for the kink. Out of the kink he comes now, he heads into Notas. You can see some drying patches on the road, which is good news for the competitors and the spectators alike. Up into the hairpin now, the Repco hairpin, looking for a split of around about the 42-minute mark, 41.84, so he's faster than his top 16 time. His top 16 was a 108.72, the man from Dannevirke. Double driving this car for his son Michael, who couldn't make it. Down the hill he comes, past the smattering of spectators down by the finish line, through the electronic beam, and he cuts that beam with a time of 108.52, so a little bit quicker than what he did in the 16, but I wonder if that will be good enough to make the next cut, which of course will be the top 4. Well, this guy has progressed further than he ever has before at Ashley Forest. He competed last year for the first time and finished 29th overall. He's already out of the 16, so he's into the 8. His top 16 time was a 108.66. He got to the top in 41.88, which was a very good split. Normally part of the pit crew for Matt Summerfield and the Castrol Edge Subaru. This is the Mitsubishi Evo 3 of Rangiora's Sam Hurley. Looks pretty tidy so far, maybe just a little bit wide. And then he drifts out into the soft stuff, and this is going to cost him a lot of time as he comes out of Notas. That is going to be expensive. That's more than a tenth of a second, I'm sure. 41.88 for the split last time round. Here he is in the Repco hairpin. This is the top 8. Split time this time of 43.19, so that little bit of a miscue down out of the kink and heading to Notas has cost him a fair chunk of time. He finished with a 108.66. If he really hurls the Mitsubishi down the hill now, he might get close to that. Very sideways coming out of the dipper as well. Heading down towards the finish. You got the best seat in the house as you're riding on the roof of Sam Hurley's Mitsubishi. Down through the Kumo Tyres finish line in a 109.95, and you can probably put the loss of time down to the run up the hill and certainly that miscue at Notas. So Sam Hurley may not make the 4.
109.5, maybe not enough to go any further, but pretty happy with the way you've gone today?
Yeah, absolutely stoked with how the weekend's gone. Well, huge improvement on last year, didn't expect to get this high, so...
This is David Thexton, third quickest in the 16. Did a 107.60. You're riding on board with him here. Oh, and he just might have missed a gear there, so that might have cost him a little bit. He had to have 2 rolls of the dice to get it into third gear. As you're on board on the roof here of the Thexton Armstrong Business Success Program sponsored Subaru. Snow Mooney and the boys from Possumbourne Motorsport preparing this car to within an inch of its life. It's an ex-Richard Mason National Championship winning Subaru. As I said before, David Thexton has Harvard dreams about making the top step at the Ashley Forest. He's been around when the greats were here, when the likes of Possumbourne, when the likes of Kim Austin. Nice at the hairpin, 41.06, so he's a little bit quicker than he did in the 16. That was a 41.33, 41.06 for Thexton. Look at the concentration on the face as he rockets down the hill now. Speeds of over 100 miles an hour, 160 kilometres per hour as he fires the yellow Subaru down the hill. Eyes wide as he works his way through the little kinks and down towards the finish line. Is it going to be better than the 107.60? It is 107.16 in the 8 for David Thexton from Auckland. Now, is that one going to stand up? This is Mike Wellington. Did a 109.29 in the top 16. This is the 8. All those times don't mean anything now. You're on board with him here as he stands on the loud pedal and holds it flat to the floor as he heads up the hill here at Ashley Forest, the Mount Grey Road. Once again, look at the concentration on the face of Wellington. Really, the navigator is just along for the ride. Some of the teams do make rudimentary pace notes. Always just lost a little bit of time coming out of the kink that time round, so maybe that was a problem for him. Have a look at notice. Is he nice and tight? No, he's soaring on the wheel, so he's a little bit more sideways than he wanted to be, I would think. So maybe that 41.33 is going to be a distant memory. We'll have a look down to the Repco hairpin. He comes 43.19, so he's lost a whole chunk of time there. Has Mike Wellington, 41.07 in the 16, nearly a second and a half slower in this, the top 8. He did a 109.29. What can he do here? He's really going to have to try coming down the hill. Look at the concerned look on the navigator's face. You get the feeling that he's hanging it all out here as we ride on the roof as he heads down towards the Kumho Tyres finish line, and a time of 109.95, so a little bit slower than what he did in the 16. Now, will that stand up to the next elimination, the top 4?
Mike, it sounded like the split was quite good to the top, but then you must have lost a bit of time on the way down.
Yeah, just a fraction coming out of that hairpin. It's really cut up there and you can't do much about it. But yeah, we lost a bit going up actually. We nearly ended up in the trees, to be honest. I'm surprised we had a good split time, but no, great to make the top 8. I'm wrapped.
So this is the second time in the 8 for Don McLean. Remember, he is double driving this car, the Subaru from Danneberg. His last top 8 time was a 108.52. Let's see what he can do this time around. Sorry, make it a 108.72. He has a 42.52 split. McLean Motorsport, Subaru. Oh, maybe just lost a little bit of momentum there as he comes out of Notas. Tries to keep it off the sloppy stuff, down into the hairpin, now into the braking area. Hauls the handbrake up, nice tight line. Keeps out of the soft, sloppy stuff on the exit of the curb. Not bad at all, 43.17. Sure it wasn't what he was looking for. Down to the finish line he goes now. Top 8 time was a 108.52. What's this one going to be? Down towards the line. Got a couple of little kinks to go. Just gets close to the edge of the road there, and it's a 109.99. So that is definitely not what he was looking for. So Don McLean has got the an enviable task of maybe knocking himself out of the top 8.
108.52. Don, you think it's good enough?
Oh, I don't know about that. A couple of untidy spots on there, but yeah, couldn't quite get that perfect run. So.
And you've got the amazing situation that you might have knocked yourself out.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's what happens when you double drive a car. We will see what happens with the rest of the competitors here in the 8. From the 8, we'll cut him down to 4. This is Scotty Jones, and he's missed a gear, and that's going to cost him big time. that is not what the man from Timaru was looking for. Did a 109.58, but got to the top in 40.78. You won't see a replica of that because that missed gear is going to cost him maybe a second. As we're on board as he rides up towards the kink. There's the hay bales, just to tell the drivers that the time to get off the gas is near. Because it really is just a drag race up the hill. You're just grabbing gears and soaring at the wheel until you get to the kink. Out of notice, he comes right in the centre of the road, this Mount Grey Road, this infamous road here in Rangiora. Oh, and he's missed another one. 43.60 at the split. We said it would transfer into a slower time, and it did. And then he misses another gear, and that has put paid to any chance of going any further, I would think, for Scott Jones. 5th overall last year. Not going to repeat that this time around. This time is going to blow out. It's going to be well over the 110 mark, I would think, as you ride on board as he heads down towards the Kumo tyres finish. Yes, it's going to be a 113.91, so that's not what Scotty was looking for. He won't be very happy with that, I would imagine.
Scotty, I guess you knew when you missed the gear that probably the top 4 was over.
Yeah, something not right with the gearbox, I think. Let it come out of the hairpin again as well. It's second and third had gone, but they come back again, so... Yeah, no, that was pretty average, really.
Richard Baddock's got it all to do. He was the fastest in the 16 with a 103.25. That was the fastest of the elimination times we've seen today here at Ashley Forest. Don't forget that Michael and Lorna Tall did a 1:00.44. That was in the third run before elimination started. So they're the fastest on the hill, but driveline problems have taken them out. You're riding on board here, watching Richard Baddock at work. Came to the sport relatively late. Built this car himself. He is an engineer by trade. A couple of seasons ago had his inaugural start in the New Zealand Rally Championships, turned a few heads. Since then has been concentrating on the regional rallies, the mainland rallies and things like that. That's a nice tidy line up to the hairpin, 39.75, 39.22 in the 16, so he's slightly down on his past run. You can see the drying line starting to appear here in the road, so the rain has stopped for the moment. Very sideways coming out of the dipper. You're back on board with Richard Baddock here. He looks very relaxed, but he's soaring away at the wheel, and that's going to cost him maybe a hundredth, maybe a little bit more. It's not going to be the 103.25 we saw on the 16, but 104.17. That's not a bad time, and it's the fastest so far. Matt Summerfield. Wayne Burke sits in the navigator seat. Look at the way the head goes back at the acceleration of the Castrol Edge Subaru. Matt Summerfield's all business. You see, he can make history here at Ashley Forest. If he can go back-to-back, there's only been one man that's done that before, and that is the late, great Kim Austin. He's the record holder with a 56.57. He won in 98. 58.96 was his time then. That was in the Kempy's Mitsubishi Starion V8, and then in 99 he won again, and that's when he set the record. No one else has been close, save for the late great Possum Bourne in 2000 with a 56.99. You won't see those times today, but you might see history being made by this man. He won last year in Steve Murphy's V8 Cordia. What's the split time for Matt Summerfield? It is a 39.84. Now, remember, Richard Baddock did a 39.75. Both these guys are going to book their spot into the 4. You don't have to hang it all out. You just have to make the elimination cut. And Richard Baddock's done that. This is going to be a pretty quick run, I would think, for Matt Summerfield. You ride with him here as he works his way down to the finish line. Did a 105.70 in the 16. This one's a little bit quicker. 105.20. It's good enough. He makes the 4 with one elimination to come.
Matty, a 105.20, but good enough to get you into the 2.
Yeah, just doing what we do at the moment. We'll tune it up for when we need to.
There's more in you, there's more in the car?
Yeah, there's not a lot much left in me. Hopefully the boys can do something cool to the car, but we'll have a go anyway.
Yeah, it looks like it'll come down to you and Richard, so the battle continues.
Yeah, local boys out there doing it.
Right, mates. So once again, it is Baddock on top in the 4 from Matt Summerfield, Dave Thexton and Don McLean. We wave goodbye to Wellington, Hurley, McLean and Scott Jones.
Time for speculation was over as we get set for the top four. First to go, it is Danny Virks. Don McLean in the Subaru was to have double-driven this car with his son Michael. Unfortunately, he couldn't. And unfortunately, Don McLean's top four ambitions have come to a grinding halt. It looks like another transmission failure. Well, this notorious road has certainly claimed a few, and it's claimed the man from the Bay as well.
Don, they say this sport can be bloody cruel sometimes.
It certainly can, yep. When you think things are just going your way, something like that snaps out from underneath you.
So the top four suddenly becomes a top three as David Thexton steps up to the line. As I said before, his ambition is to win this event. Well, he's going in the right direction. He's heading up the hill. This 1.8 kilometre journey. You're on board with him here. It is full throttle until he gets to the kink. Look at the concentration on the face of David Thexton. A real veteran of the New Zealand motor racing scene. A standout in rallying in the 70s, 80s and 90s. Then he tried his hand at V8 supercars. He's driven in the New Zealand Touring Car Championship as well. He's been there and done that, as they say. Have a look to see what the split time will be for Thexton. Needs to be around the 40-second mark, I would think. Out of note as he comes now. You're back on board here as he works his way through up to the hairpin. Grabs the handbrake. You'll see the rears lock up. He tries to keep it out of the soft stuff out towards the outside of the racetrack. Maybe just losing a little bit of time there. 40.55 at the split. What can he do? He's been in the 107s. He's going to have to go appreciably quicker than that if he wants to go to the next elimination, which is the top two. David Thexton would think all his Christmases have come at once if he can get into the two. Heading down to the finish line now. Look how busy he is in the cockpit. Across the Kumho Tyres finish line, and it's a 106.84. So he sets the benchmark in the top four, but I wonder if it will be good enough.
You think that'll be good enough?
Don't think so. No, I felt a lot faster than that, but the clock doesn't lie.
No, unfortunately it doesn't.
This is Richard Baddock in his Subaru Impreza. Been the flag bearer, if you like, in all the eliminations. Quickest in the 16, quickest in the 8. Now we're down to the 4, riding on the roof of the Subaru. Richard told me that this may be the last competitive outing. He is building a later model Subaru to contend in the New Zealand Rally Championships and also the regional rallies this year. As I said, full throttle all the way, just a little bit sideways as he goes through the kink. That maybe costs him a tenth, maybe a little bit more. Baddock will be looking for every little advantage he can get. Heading up towards noses now. Big crowd watching despite the inclement conditions. You can see how puggy and how wet the surface is on the road. Up to the hairpin, you got to get this one absolutely dead right. We're riding on the shoulder of Richard Baddock. He tries to keep it out of the stuff as well and does a pretty good job of it. 39.64. So he's up on the time of David Thexton. Thexton did a 40.55 to the top. Remember, all the elimination times don't mean anything now. We start with a clean slate. Who is going to be the overall champion of the Ashley Forest Rallysprint for 2015? Will it be the man we ride with here? Down to the finish line he comes through the Kumho Tyres finish with a 1:04.48. So he's faster than Thexton, but will he be fast enough? The defending champion is yet to go. And this is Matt Summerfield. Last year, he won the event in the Steve Murphy-owned Mitsubishi Cordia, the V8 Mitsubishi Cordia, but this is his New Zealand. Oh, and he's missed a gear. Well, that's going to cost him as much as getting a little bit sideways probably cost Richard Baddock. Matt Summerfield has missed a gear, and that's stalled the forward momentum. You're riding once again on the roof. Now we're riding on the helmet of Matt Summerfield. He really is a great sport. We said to him earlier, can we put a camera on your helmet? He said, yeah, no problem, go for your life. Doesn't feel the pressure. Wayne the Navigator sits there impassively, heading out a note as they come now. Summerfield in the Subaru WRX Impreza. Castrol Edge colours on the car this season. What a season he's had. This time last year he was picking up the trophy for the Ashley Forest Rallysprint. Then he had a brilliant New Zealand Rally Championship, and now he is trying to go back to back. And if he does that, he will equal the great. And the great one is Kim Austin. We'll tell you more about him a little bit later on. Throwing it down the hill now, really leaving all the stops out is Matt Summerfield. You're on board with him here. Look how busy they are in what looks like a straight piece of road. Through the Kumho Tyres finish with a 1:04.82. So he has gone slower again than Richard Baddock, but we have found our two here at Ashley Forest. This is the crucial moment. Watch his left hand. He misses third gear. That maybe cost him the win in the 4 over Baddock.
What happened there? It just seemed to bog down.
Oh no, just missed third, so we'll have another go next time.
So we have found the two in the Pace Project Management Ashley Forest Rally Sprint for 2015, and it's the old adversaries Richard Baddock versus Matt Summerfield. Slowest goes first, and that means that it's defending champion Matt Summerfield out of Rangiora, lives just down the road. The son of a famous father in Les. Les having a terrible accident very close to where we are at the moment. Great to see him in the crowd and recovering. You're on board here with Matt and Wayne. Once again, we take a look from the helmet cam of Matt Summerfield. Just look at the gentle movements on the Subaru as they work their way up to the kink. Full throttle all the way up there, around about 100 miles an hour before they have to even touch the brakes going through the kink. You can see the condition of the road has absolutely deteriorated, and that's because it's been raining and freezing cold here all day. Just a little bit sideways and maybe just a bit wide coming out of Notice up to the hip, and now got to get this one absolutely dead right. Looking for a sub 40 split clocking, I would think. Gets it 39.30 at the top, so now he hurls it down the hill. He knows all about this. He did it last year in Steve Murphy's Cordia to win the event. Can he go back to back? The last man that went back to back was Kim Austin. He did it in 1998 and 1999. In 1999 he set the record. We won't see a record today. We might see a 103 though from Matt Summerfield through the finish line, and we do. A 103.41. The pressure now is on the slim shoulders of Richard Baddock.
Matt, 103.41. I guess it's a waiting game now.
Yeah, obviously Richard's shown they can go faster than that already, but it was a pretty tapped run for me. We obviously still got the restrictor in. You know, that's no excuse, we're an unlimited, but yeah, push the car as hard as I could.
This man has got it all to do here in Ashley Forest. This is Richard Baddock in his Subaru Impreza. You ride with him here. Oh, and he's missed a gear as well, so real drama. Maybe the pressure getting to the Christchurch mechanic. Back to our second onboard camera, this on the roof of the Subaru, heading up towards the kink, full throttle. It is just a straight out drag race off the start line. And then you see Richard just soaring at the wheel. Once again, the subby just getting a little bit sideways, and that's slicing a tenth or maybe a hundredth of a second off the time through those two corners. Up into Notice and then up to the hairpin. What's the split going to be? Got to be better than a 39.30 if he's going to have any chance at all. It's going to be in the 39s, I would think. 39.51, he's down. He's really going to have to throw it down the hill now. He says that it may be the last competitive outing for the little black Subaru. He'd love to go out as a winner. He's really going to have to haul now. Heading down into the dipper he goes. Nice and tidy. The front of the car biting into the wet clay there. All the gravel is gone. You're riding on board as he works his way down towards the finish line. Is he going to top the 103.41? Is it going to be better? It isn't. 103.59. There's absolutely nothing in it. But Richard Baddock is going to be second again to Matt Summerfield. As close as you like here at Ashley. There is the crucial moment, and once again, third gear is the culprit, and that cost Richard Baddock. He misses out by 0.18 of a second.
You're kidding me. We missed a gear on the way up.
Yeah, I saw it and I thought that's probably all it took.
Oh, that's awful. I don't even know what to say. We got nothing to say to that.
Obviously after that it was a pretty good run.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I was trying to make up for lost time.
So once again, we see history here at Ashley Forest. Matt Summerfield goes back to back.
You joined some illustrious company. I know Kim Austin's won back to back, but I think you're the only other one.
Well, yeah, that's incredible to know that. He is Ashley Forest. So to be alongside him is amazing.
Well, Matt. And I know you're on the phone before with Steve Murphy. What did he say?
Oh, he's bloody wrapped. I probably can't repeat what he was said on the phone.
It meant such a lot to you last year. What does it mean this time?
Oh, just the same again, but to do it in their own cars, just extra special. All my boys put in a huge effort, and all the sponsors that back us all the way throughout the year. So to do it with them on the car and in our car is pretty special.
Well, once again, we've seen drama here at the Pace Project Management Ashley Forest Rallysprint for 2015. The weather wasn't kind, but the racing was exceptional and history-making because Matt Summerfield goes back-to-back. He won in 2014 in the Steve Murphy V8 Cordia, but this year he won in his own car, the Castrol GTX Subaru. Fantastic racing right throughout. Good battles in the two-wheel drive, good battles in the classic rally as well. It was a brilliant day, save for the weather, and we hope it'll be really good next year as well.